Hello, my friends. Let's talk about Bone Lake movie. And this is 2025 movie, which was pretty much, interesting. And I would recommend it you if you wanna watch horror, horror genre. If you wanna just, make your Halloween, make your weekend, you know, entertaining. This is for you. And basically, Bone Lake movie is about two main characters who arrived to mansion at a lakeside, and they basically rented that place to spend a weekend, basically, and they want to just rekindle their relationship. And after Sage, Diego's wife, basically took on a new job as an editor, you know, she is the only one who bringing income into this family. And basically Diego is a writer who is right now dedicating his whole time to a book he is writing. And Sage basically has some article that she wrote before, taking on this new responsibility. And she won even a reward for that article. And basically, it's about the contemporary relationship paradox. And I want to just read it out loud, some of this. Modern relationships exist at the intersection of liberation and complexity. Gone are the days of rigidly prescribed roles and stifled desires. As couples today, and there is no continuation. But so she is right. She is basically writing about modern relationships, and basically she is somehow suffering from the same reason that she is writing about in that article, because of the changes in modern relationships and everything else, and the differences that they have with your husband when it comes to intimacy. She is basically, cannot find the solution for this relationship to satisfy both, but it's just because your husband, Diego, is not willing to accept that your body is just, has different anatomy and requires different ways, to make you happy, let's say. And basically, this is pretty much the problem which is gonna be exploited by another people who just arrived to this same mansion at the same lake, and basically they double booked this mansion. And it seems like both couples ended up, at the same place and claiming that they booked this place long ago and they planned this weekend. But this situation just, confusing both couples, and they want to just play like rock, paper, scissors or something like this to solve this issue, and who is gonna win that stays, So who is winning this game that stays at this place? But this is not a solution to this problem. And Will and his girlfriend, they are going to just offer another couple, Sage and Diego, to stay together, basically. And basically, Will and Sin, his wife, his girlfriend, not his wife, they basically arrived to, spend some time at this place, and they do not have any visible issues at the beginning, and they just want to make this weekend, quality time for each of them, you know. And basically they want to make this, you know, like weekend for Sage and Diego even more, you know, entertaining, because they basically using this time, you know, and they trying basically to even, you know, resurface some story about this place, because this place is just some mansion which basically belonged to a family that long ago basically discovered this, you know, lake, and basically on the bottom of this lake they found like skeletons and a lot of, you know, secrets just, you know, around this place. But this basically place, after that, this place just resembles as a rental, and this is how they ended up at this lakeside mansion. But basically the solution for Diego and his wife Sage to make this weekend, you know, the moment of, you know, getting back their relationship the way it was before his wife cheated on him, because in their relationship basically Sage was unfair, she was basically unfaithful once with her husband Diego, and that caused them a lot of stress basically. And after that, Sage basically took on all the financial responsibilities, because her husband, as I told you before, her husband Diego is writing this novel right now, and he is about to release this novel, you know, anytime soon. But this just situation putting so much pressure on this couple, and they basically exposing their issues to this couple, Will and Sin. And basically Sin, she is working as a wealth manager, so she is basically helping people to, you know, manage their finances, and she is offering Diego her help with a writer basically, which is the favorite writer of Diego's, and she is basically telling that she can basically show his book to this writer, Edmund Kearns. And basically this offers something Diego, you know, couldn't really reject, because this is the opportunity for him to basically help his wife, you know, to feed his family. And basically we didn't get any information about the family and if they have kids or something, and it seems like it's just the two of them. But the problem is still, you know, the same. And basically the other couple, the couple that arrived later, Will and his girlfriend Sin, they are trying to exploit this problem of Diego and Sage by seducing them, basically. And they trying to seduce them not only because it seems like they having their own advantage, their own profits from this situation. They trying basically to drive a wedge between Diego and his wife Sage. And basically there is like multiple situations when Sin directly just flirting with Sage's husband Diego, and she's trying basically to, tell she's trying to be honest with Sage and she's basically revealing Sage that something could have happened between her and Diego, and she is trying to be transparent to not make this, as if she is trying to hit on Diego, but she's making it like he is trying to hit on her. And basically this weekend basically, taking place, and the couples just trying to spend this time together, and they throw in some type of party, but they started basically to wonder what hidden behind other doors, because all other rooms basically locked and nobody can enter them because they only rented some part of this mansion. They cannot really enter other rooms. And basically after they agreed to just break into other rooms and to find out what behind the door, they basically discovered some weird stuff, like Ouija boards, or I don't know what it means, but it's called like Ouija board or something like this, and some ritual by which you can just reconnect with dead people. And this is of course just giving off some weird vibe, because they discovered that basically this mansion was a place where the owners basically of this place went missing after taking some weekend or something like this. Like the owners basically disappeared at this lakeside mansion, and all the information just right there. And they basically realized that they need basically to get out of this place, but Diego basically convinced his wife Sage to stay a little bit longer, because they just basically initially they didn't go to any other hotel because this place is the only good place in that area, and they didn't want to basically go to a hotel because they basically wanted this secluded remote place, but they ended up with another couple. But given that in any hotel in any other place they would have been not alone as well, because in any hotel, you would basically run into multiple strangers every day, and they kind of satisfied by how this time goes, because Will basically Will basically cooked for them, and with his wife basically they made it even easier for Diego and Sage to stay longer, because you know they just really seem to be so friendly, And at the same time, basically, Will, out of nowhere, he basically proposed to his girlfriend, Sin. And basically, the only problem with this proposal is that the ring that he gave to Sin was the same ring that Diego basically shown. He basically shown this ring to Will, because that ring belonged to Diego, and basically Will stole that ring from Diego. But Diego was about to propose to his wife, Sage, and after that basically he freaked out about Will stealing this ring. And after basically they kind of settled down this, tension, they realized that they have the same issue, that their wives basically cheated on them. And for Will, it seems like a real problem, because his wife is definitely the center of, any company, and he just cannot stop anybody from, flirting with his wife. And he even basically told Diego at the beginning of their, weekend at this mansion, he told Diego that literally everybody is trying to hit on his wife, and this is not even surprised that she cheated on him. But the main focus specifically on Diego and his wife's relationship, and how they trying to basically overcome all the issues they have. Because even though Will basically told that his wife cheated on him and they have a lot of issues, they still seem not so disturbed by any of that. And basically they even use this opportunity to go to a shop. Basically they wanted to buy some supplies, because they were running out of supplies and they want to just buy some food. And they used this opportunity to make Diego and his wife separate. And basically they managed to kind of seduce both of them. But at first it seemed like Diego was really falling into this. But once he realized that basically Sin trying just to, seduce him, because she has some, motives that is, not so clear for Diego. So Diego realized that there is some hidden motives behind this, flirting and everything else. And he realized basically that he is just an easy target for Will's wife, Sin. So this is why he was able to resist this seduction, basically. But for Sage, basically, that wasn't that easy, because she felt like all the responsibilities she has right now, including her taking on a new job, and Diego, her husband, basically Diego quit his job for his writing career, and all that basically made her believe that she has all the rights basically to do whatever she wants. But we're not here to judge or something. We're just talking about the consequences and the initial problem that they have before coming to this mansion, to this place, and how basically they made their relationship even more complicated instead of really fixing it. They tried to basically find another way. And for Sage and basically for Sage and Sin, this solution was basically to go basically potting, swimming in that lake, and basically kind of getting their husbands out of their heads. They were trying basically to prioritize themselves and just they actually took mollies, and they basically made this they basically made the move in attempt to forget everything, and to make it easy to concentrate on this weekend instead of thinking about their families, their financial problems or any issues. But it basically made Diego basically the whole Sage and her new friend Sin relationship made Diego question how this weekend that they were supposed to spend together turned into something, completely different, the opposite. And Sage basically discovered something about Will and his wife's secrets. They basically noticed that the glasses that Will's wife was wearing, they are basically non-prescribed glasses, which is not like she claimed they were, because Will's wife, basically, Sin, she told that she has some problems and that her eyesight is so bad, and so she basically even told Diego to help her to find her glasses, because she forgot to put on her lenses. She forgot basically to put on her glasses and she couldn't find it, but it turns out that she doesn't even have any problems with her eyesight, basically. And after Sage basically revealed that to Diego, they realized that something really weird happening. Something is really off with this another couple, with Will and his girlfriend Sin. And during this storm, basically, the light went off, and basically when Will and Sin basically left Diego and his wife alone finally, they realized that they made what they initially basically came for. They made Diego and his wife Sage fight against each other. They made them basically kind of worsen this relationship, and they basically managed, they managed to find this weak point in Diego and Sage's relationship. But at the same time, Diego and his wife, they realized that they need basically to find out what is wrong with this place, and they needed basically to get rid of Will and his girlfriend Sin, because to find out basically what's happening behind locked door, behind the door, and the room that they never entered, the only room that they never entered actually was a secret room from where basically Will and his girlfriend Sin, they were basically watching everything, and all the cameras just, all the cameras were recording Diego and Sage this whole time, this whole weekend. They were recorded basically, and Diego tried to get rid of the drive disk, but he couldn't basically, he couldn't remove it completely, because all the basically videos, they were recorded to cloud. So they basically realized that they are in trouble. They need basically to get out of that place. But let's talk about who Will and his wife are. Basically, Will is not even his real name, because his real name Thomas and his girlfriend Alice, they basically live in this place. This is their house, and this mansion basically belongs to them, because their parents basically, initially their parents lived in this place together with Alice and Thomas, but after that, after their parents basically they found out that Alice and Thomas, they have relationship, they were together despite that they are brother and sister, and basically that caused some scandal, and as a result of which basically Thomas and Alice killed their parents. So this is why basically this place is just so weird and giving off some weird vibes, because this is actually just a murder site. This is murder site, and every couple that comes to this place ending up basically dead. And initially, before even Diego and his wife Sage came to this place, everything was premeditated. Everything basically was prepared for their arrival, and Will and basically Sin, who actually Thomas and Alice, they basically made it look like they were just, booking the same place, but they were the owners of this place. So basically they fooled Diego and Sage, and at this point the only question is, what are their intentions behind that? Why they do that to other couples? Why they basically deceiving other couples and trying to split them? And basically they basically revealed that by doing that, they trying to make it as a game to test how strong this couple is, how strong their bond is, how faithful they are to each other. And by seducing Diego and his wife Sage, they were testing them, and the only person who failed the test basically was Sage. And so this way basically Thomas and Alice basically won this game. And who basically losing this game? Who is falling for this seduction? Basically who is losing, that person dies basically. So there is no way that Diego and his wife Sage can leave this place. The only way they could have basically escaped if they basically won this game, and if nobody cheated or fell for this flirting. And they tried to escape basically, but Thomas, or Will, he basically convinced Diego that he seduced his wife. He basically put that doubt into his head, because Diego already knew that his wife was unfaithful once, so he believed somehow in every word that his wife was saying. But at the same time, Will was basically trying to convince him that his wife basically was unfaithful again with him. And we still don't have clear answer about if that happened or not, because in this basically movie there is no direct answer, no scene that would be showing you that they had that affair. But the scene itself just was supposed to be the affair happened, but there wasn't really any evidence that they did something, that they slept with each other. But that was basically enough for Will and Sin to claim that they won this game, basically, even though we don't know if they really won it or not, or if they're just crazy and they're gonna just kill Diego and Sage because this is the only way to end this game, because they cannot just let them go, because everything basically will go to police, and finally somebody just somebody basically would reveal everything about this place. But they managed basically to get out of this place, and after basically killing both Will and Sin, after killing Alice and Thomas, they basically managed to escape this place. And in the most cringe, prolonged fight, basically they managed to finally, get out of this place. And after that, basically Diego returned his ring, which basically supposed to be the ring for his wife, Sage. So this is everything about this movie. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure how much information on this movie available, but if you try to watch it, just focus on some details. The movie basically itself is not like complete horror, but it has a lot of hidden stuff, like a lot of signs that would tell you even more than I can. But thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.